you guys, this will not come as a surprise to any of you, but it shows the best part of the watch hobby, right? It's not about telling time.
Right.
My most accurate watch by a mile is my G-Shock, right? And I love that watch. But it's not about telling time. It's about art and community.
Yeah. Yep.
Absolutely. Yep.
All right, episode 31, Normalize Talking About Watches. We have some special guests here. This is
Well, using the chairs too.
Who said for your special?
Our first repeat guest.
our first repeat.
Wow, I didn't know this.
Honorary to have him here, Mr. Peter Dimitri, and then a new guest, Mr. George Glenn.
How are y'all?
Thanks for coming, guys.
Yeah. Thanks for having us. It's great.
I'm pumped that we're using the chairs personally because we got these chairs.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, and we've only used 2 so far because I wasn't here for the Chris Williams episode. So
That's right.
we're breaking them all in, which is nice. One was
Another first time, the first time both of our chairs are being used.
Wow.
Yeah.
no
So they're a little more firm. Yours
I like
is broken and it really sits well.
You guys have come a long way since the last time I was on.
last time
Our phones,
we were at Europe.
Well, that was a malfunction. If anybody saw that episode.
bouncing off my 14th ceiling.
Still, I think our most watched episode, maybe Chris Williams has passed, but it was the worst audio on planet. So these are Chris is good.
Oh yeah, Chris passed me.
I think, but Chris self-promoted.
I don't think he did.
Oh,
I think
He
it's-
posted it though all over Dimitri.
I still think Dimitri got the number 1.
Oh really?
Yeah, you're still 1.
All right,
Believe it or not.
Everybody go back and look.
Yeah.
You said
I
repeat, go to bed.
demand that I be number 1.
By views,
This episode will beat it all.
by views, you're number 1. But hopefully this episode does.
It should.
it all. So
No question.
yeah,
The best content.
No question.
yeah.
These guys are so sweet. They're always mentioning Dimitri.
We're I mean it's very real. I would say it's not. We're not just mentioning it to mention it. We've always had great experiences there.
Y'all are very supportive.
And George and I just became best friends because he's a Crocs guy.
Yeah.
I'm a big Crocs guy.
Can we have this on camera? We can punch in.
Now you're getting the views.
Yeah.
Now you're getting the views. Get those foot shots. in
I
there.
just
No, I'm gonna have to blur that out.
Well, I want to know why y'all told me to dress up.
I did not.
But this is George dress.
This is I had a long fan.
I said, George, I'm gonna wear a coat, dress up.
I got my
You
sweatpants.
go.
I'm ready.
I'm pretty dressed up right now.
I was gonna say
I'm not.
you two might be on the same wavelength of comfortability, which I like.
Absolutely.
This is me pretty dressed up. So
That's good.
Should have
well, we have some really special content today. We've got some amazing watches that we're gonna roll through. But before that, we have a really special cause that I think we want to talk about all together. George, you're the spearhead of the cause here in the Charleston area.
I certainly help. I like to hope.
Yeah.
So this is about ALS. You might have heard of it from called Lou Gehrig's disease. It stands for amyotrophic lateral sclerosis. It is the ice bucket challenge is how most people know it if you don't have a personal connection to it. I know Peter, your uncle had it. My dad had it. It is, easily the coolest disease I can imagine. What happens is your neurons die one at a time. So you lose all motion from your from the muscles you can control until it finally affects the ones that you can't control. And that's when you pass. The average prognosis is 2 to 5 years from diagnosis. Some people have it much longer. Some people have it much less. My dad had it for 9 months. My friend Lloyd, who I'm wearing the watch that me and Lloyd built together, he had it for 18 years. Wow. And so something that we're trying to figure out is how can the same disease have, my dad pass in 9 months and Lloyd pass in 18, 19 years. And one of the thoughts that, and Peter was more than happy to help with this, was figuring out, is there something in what we call the gut microbiome that might affect this? This is from the doctor, Dr. named Dr. Bedlack. And the thought is basically you have a bunch of gunk in your stomach and it affects basically everything. It affects how you feel, your mood, if you're gaining weight, losing weight, everything. And what he found is there's a certain kind of bacteria that is more prevalent in people with fast progressing ALS. Then there's a different kind of bacteria that's more prevalent in people with slow progressing ALS. So what we're trying to figure out is, can I change the gut microbiome of someone with fast progressing ALS to either slow progressing or normal progressing ALS? And it works in mice. Now we got to figure out if it works in humans, and that's what the watch that Peter and I built together is going towards.
So I volunteer. They're going to take it out of my gut when I lose 10 pounds. That's my contribution.
It's all stool, so it works.
Yeah.
You're more full of something.
So
Wait, that weightless isn't real after all.
Is that based on like the bacteria in the stomach?
When you talk about probiotics,
Right, yeah. So I've listened, I guess, to a few podcasts. Dr. Andrew Huberman does a big study on the gut, and basically saying that the gut is the second brain, of the body. And talking about how so many antibiotics throughout the course of your life kind of kill all of the good bacteria that are actually in your stomach as well. Do you think there's a relation there?
That is one of the things that actually gave Dr. Bedlack his insight. People who had gotten COVID, who had not progressed in years, so people who had been basically plateaued with ALS for 10 years, let's say, got COVID and died a few weeks or months later.
Wow.
And like at first people thought, it's because of the inflammation of COVID. But his theory is it might be because it wipes up the microbiome, and the good bacteria that you had that was slowing down ALS might have died.
Interesting.
I mean, Cann, this happened with Lloyd. Like Lloyd plateaued, got COVID, and passed a few weeks later.
Wow.
So just, I mean, like, that's certainly what led him to his insight, and hopefully could be a major breakthrough for ALS.
And so George, I mean, he's one of the leading faces of ALS in the country, and I don't know how we met. I think he just wandered.
I did. I got my brand Seiko.
Wandered in for Grand Seiko. But really from the beginning, we've tried to support him. My uncle had it and basically became a clear mind trapped in a paralyzed body for 5 years. His father died quickly. We always talk about what's the best.
What's worse?
What's worse?
Yeah,
That works.
I know the 18 years thing is like crazy. That's so long to deal with something like that.
So he created a Moser watch with Louis Stewart.
We'll get some close-ups and throw them up on the screen for people out
The three L's. So I
pretty
soon. And then we've been trying to come together and figure out a watch that we could create and sell it with all the proceeds going to the study.
Mm-hmm.
So we approached Tudor, and Tudor being part of the Hans Wilhelm Foundation, which is a charitable trust which owns Rolex and Tudor. They're always willing to help in any way they can, and so they partnered up with us, and we took a Black Bay 58 Blue,
Beautiful.
so one of the classic.
Already beautiful watch.
Yeah.
Made it more beautiful.
And George came up with some designs. Logan, Louis Stewart's
Not so much Logan, but yes.
You're right. No quick credit for Logan over here.
And so anyway, they're engraving the backs. The top says it's time to end ALS. The bottom has your name, and then there's three designs on the back of the case that are really beautiful. I mean, it's beautiful factory engraved by Tudor, and we're hoping to sell 100, and 100% of proceeds are going to go to the study that with Dr. Bedlack that we were just talking about. And so far, I mean, the reaction's been fantastic. The community's incredible. Support's been great. And we're just really proud of it. And, it's just fun because we're all passionate about watches.
Mm-hmm.
Where you can combine your passion about a thing and have it go towards something good.
Absolutely.
It just makes it's a win-win for everybody. And I think we have a chance this money is going to make a difference.
Yeah.
If we can improve one patient's life all the time, and it's worth it.
Right. Agreed.
If we can make a major breakthrough, then, hallelujah, all our prayers have been answered. So I think, Dr. Bedlack's amazing. You guys will get to meet him at some point. But when you speak to him, you see his passion, you see brilliance.
He's been doing this for 40 years. Like, he's been, think about ours of this. Every patient he's ever had aside.
Yeah.
And quickly. And he stays in the fight. Talk about a real hero.
Yeah, seriously.
But George is a hero because, he's given Dr. Bedlack the ability to focus on just ALS.
Right.
And with Duke University or Duke Medical.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just it's a passion for all of us, but it's just a wonderful thing to be a part of.
You guys, this will not come as a surprise to any of you, but it shows the best part of the watch hobby, right? It's not about telling time.
Right.
My most accurate watch by a mile is my G-Shock. right? And I love that watch. But like, it's not about telling time. It's about art and community.
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's how we started this podcast.
Absolutely.
We're
About reasons.
It's just trying to go back into what y'all created and what we always talked about. And, guys are buying them for their grandkids down the road, to have a watch that has some meaning behind it.
Yep.
We should talk about design.
Yes,
I think.
Please do.
Yeah.
Will you get that a little closer to you? Yeah.
User error. Yeah, that's Peter.
I'll just have to go through and turn on your phone.
You're the iPad even.
Wow, it's good. Well, this is his first time with the professional equipment. Give him a break.
He's used to this.
Yeah, we had a pretty janky setup.
I was just watching the bars. It was looking a little low.
We'll fix it up.
Yeah. So, all right. So, you've got 100 pieces. We'll just call it 100 pieces, but we couldn't sell more, right?
Yeah.
Or no?
Yeah.
We're not limited.
No.
Yeah, we can sell as many as we can sell.
Absolutely.
Okay. So there's 100-piece collection, if not more, of Black Bay 58s, and you've got 3 different case back engravings.
So there's 4 total. One is dedicated to somebody that's a family crest. So
Okay.
nobody else can use that.
So one soul one.
Call it what are the launches?
Yeah. What are the 3 case back engravings? And is there
The first one's called My Journey. And when I saw it, I didn't get it. It's basically ladders with platforms.
Okay.
And, Logan and George were showing it to me, and I was like, that's cool. And it's for this, basically the Stewart family, because Lloyd Stewart designed this design. And so, nobody told me what it was about. So I just thought, everybody's gravitating.
Who wants to pick up a ladder on their watch?
But so many people are gravitating for it because the story behind it is basically the first ladder and platform is basically what we all achieved, just kind of our comfort zone. It's an easy ladder. Get to it. We just kind of settle in. That's life. And then the second ladder is more difficult, and you need a team to reach it to get to that platform. And so that's kind of like the community coming together, lifting you up and taking you to another level. And then the third ladder, last platform, is achieving the impossible and achieving your wildest dreams. It's super difficult to get to. You're going to fall down the ladder and things. So the story behind it is so meaningful, and people be gravitating towards it, which was a pleasant surprise. And Lloyd Stewart designed it, and we should talk about Lloyd more.
Yeah.
I read up on Lloyd a little bit. He has a shipyard, I guess, in Charleston area. Had a shipyard in Charleston area.
Yeah. I gave a speech about Lloyd up at Duco about a year ago. And I tell people he's a person I've met most in the world who doesn't get reflected on Google accurately. Because when you read that, you're like, oh, this guy's this incredibly serious, brilliant business person. And that's true. He's the best business person I've ever met in my life. He was also freaking hilarious and would be outraged if you didn't give him a hug the second you walked into the room. When I think about Lloyd, I think about his laugh. I think about, when he couldn't eat anymore, he would still go out with his nurses to go sit every Thursday for years because he loved people. He always told me this. He goes, I don't know how to run a ship here. I know people.
Wow.
And
It's about the book.
Yeah, he has, so the watch has the same exact Pantone color as a wonderful book you wrote. It's called What Men Know About Women. And it's empty inside. and he loved this book. It had his business card on the back of the book. And God love him.
I read it, and that's
He added nothing to it if it helps that. It's still blank.
That'd be a book I could read.
Yeah, sure.
It can be a quick read for me.
And he would not leave the house without this book. He loved handing them out. I remember this very vividly. I was dead asleep one night. My phone rings, and it's one of Lloyd's nurses. Lloyd had to go to the hospital for something. And she goes, do you have any green books? I'm like, I'm sure I have 10,000 in my car. What's going on? What's happening? Lloyd has to go to the hospital. He doesn't have green books with him, and he won't leave the house unless he can bring the green book with him to the hospital.
No.
So I go scrounging around my car for the 10,000 books he'd give you and bring it to him in the hospital so he would go to the hospital. He would not leave without it.
That's funny.
And so when we decided to make the Moser watch for Lloyd, we knew right away what Pantone color it had to be.
And that's not
So, yeah, that's the same exact color as the buck.
I think that was the first time Moser did a matching strap to the Dollar.
It's the first time they've ever done it.
Wow.
Yeah,
How about that?
yeah, they I'll get into the Moser process if you want a little bit. Like,
You can get back into that. Yeah.
because Aloy passed in the middle of the process.
Oh, wow.
That was like a very weird and touching process.
I'm sure.
It was Moser really stepped up. They did a great job.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Joe and I did an episode not long ago where we literally just discovered that we didn't even know that brand existed. And we were in Watches of Switzerland up in New York. And they had a beautiful display. And the sales guy we were talking to was a nerd about it. Like, and we loved it because he educated us on all of it. We were like blown by the, what was that black? Vanta Black.
Oh, yes.
It was like just, you can't even comprehend.
Black.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And they had they had the rose gold rainbow bezel. And it basically just blew our mind. It's a very cool brand. And we did an episode talking about how cool the brand they are.
Well, the CEOs, he also the Unpopulants too, which is like this like very, very, very crazy watch brand. Like one of them is most of them don't tell time.
No way.
Like it's like a little like pinball game on your watch, and that's like the whole thing. Wow. It is like they have it's probably the craziest watch brand.
We'll have to check that out.
It's really a fun.
I don't know that I've heard that.
We're gonna dive into Moser and
There you go. On the back end of this episode, maybe. Yeah.
So, but the other bat, so okay.
No, there you go.
No, we gotta bring it back. I know it's on.
Right.
We're bringing it back.
The second one is cornflower, which
represents a less patient.
Right. And that basically represents the cornflower looks brittle and delicate, but it's extremely sturdy. It handles the wind. So it's like an ALS patient. Oh, that's cool. And then the third,
I like that.
Yeah,
it's just like so. The cornflower it looks brittle, but survives these
super storms and takes storms. Sun. It's a strong flower.
Yeah.
And then the third is combining a chapel.
Egg chapel. Not the Duke Chapel. Very important.
Copyright.
Egg chapel.
Egg chapel.
This is the one that we got.
Yeah.
You get
Like the Duke. We got one together with NTAW on Grand on the back. Yeah, the Logan called.
We hinted at we got a new watch.
We got one. We wanted to put the podcast a little on the back, so we split.
You guys, I appreciate it.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Absolutely.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, awesome. Absolutely.
It's funny because Joe wanted that watch. When I'm a big Tudor fan, everyone knows that. I have a few of them. And Joe, I've been trying to get him on the Tudor game. He hasn't loved the thickness. And none of the watches jumped out. But all of a sudden,
Yeah, it's a 58. I mean, it's a thinner, it's a 39 millimeter.
I love
perfect size watch.
It's got a vintage feel to it. And yeah, I mean, that's part of, we kind of picked the perfect watch because if you just love the watch, nothing's changing about this watch.
Right.
But you flip to the back and it's got all this meaning behind it.
Right.
And 100% of the net proceeds are going towards the fund that's going to really make a difference. So, I mean, it's a win-win for all of us, And so anyway, so it's a chapel with the cornflowers wrapping around it. And we brought some examples.
I'll get some photos of them and then we'll flash them on.
Yeah.
And so we've already, by the time this podcast airs, we've already put in the first batch to Tudor. Those will be delivered pre-Christmas. And then we'll run this through, into next year. So if anybody would like to buy one, just contact Dimitri Jewelers, contact Logan.
Or DM us. We can pitch in contact.
Yeah, we'll send you that.
So then we'll have a reception sometime early next year with Dr. Bed Black for everybody that's going to be shared.
That's going to be
And we've also, we've had clients and friends that have just donated money straight up. I mean, it's been an amazing caption.
What's the price point on the Black?
So 4,000. This is 4,000. Some people have asked for the strap version, which is a really beautiful soft fabric blue, which is $36.75.
Okay, so $36.75. You want it on a strap,
Unless you bought it from George, because I did not know. I thought you had to get the bracelet and the strap.
You have to get the bracelet.
That's two watches that
We
we
bought it from George. It was $41.50, I believe. So
That's two watches.
I'm hearing $76.50.
Yeah.
Because you get two watches.
Yeah, but two full watches.
well, that's a whoopsies on my part.
The more you spend, the more money.
I was gonna say it's going to a good place. So it's all right.
That's right. So and you got your choice of three amazing case packs, is what it says. Like the Journey, it would just
And you personalize it.
Yeah. The cornflower is I like the analogy behind the cornflower a lot. I like that a lot. And then
What do you know? Stories. This is important.
the chapter.
That's what we talk about watching all the time. It's not like about the watch always. It's about the story that goes behind it. And
Yeah.
we talked about, your favorite watch in the world is a cheap watch or whatever they gave you, your father gave you, your grandfather gave you.
Yep.
There's always this sentiment behind
Yeah.
the favorite.
So this is kind of a perfect piece for anybody's collection, I think.
I think so.
Agreed.
And it is a beautiful watch. I mean,
Yeah, it's a great watch.
I'm
All
not-
aside, it's
I'm not a huge Tudor fan. I mean, I was a huge Tudor fan.
Yeah.
Due to like the thickness of those pieces, and then I found that watch, and it not related to to this. I was like, this is the Tudor that I'm going to get at a sim.
I mean, it's a beautiful blue.
And then I also love the Pelagos.
Yeah.
Pelagos.
So it was great.
Is it Pelagos or Pelagos?
That's right.
You pick.
Okay,
My Gelly wear's been the GMT, the Pepsi.
He's got the open.
That's a beautiful watch.
Just missing my Gelly wear since I basically picked it.
Yeah.
I mean, I told y'all, if y'all ever see me out and about,
Yep.
especially if I'm taking pictures for Instagram and social media, I'm wearing a Tudor.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like you always have one.
Yeah. Blue Pelagos.
Yep.
I've got the
it's such a good brand.
You can wear it on fabric straps and native type straps, so you can just really play around with the look. Well, it's just a fun, it's tremendous value. And he's $4,000 for this watch, and it's a lot of money, but it's
In the watch world, relative to what you're getting,
what you're getting.
bang for buck. That's what I fell in love with.
Yeah.
Bang for buck. It was.
And it's also for a great. It's
Right.
And Rolex and Tudor, I mean, people don't really know about the side of it, but it's a nonprofit charitable foundation.
Right.
It's, unique in the luxury world.
Right.
I mean, they do incredible things around the world under the Hans World Foundation that make a huge difference for the world. And, so you're supporting good things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rolex and Tudor.
So we'll do a little call to action, I would say. If you've been waiting to get a watch, and if you wanted to get a watch, you wanted to buy something for Dimitri, or you wanted to reach out to us and say, hey, I'm looking for a watch. What should I get? This is the watch you should get. This is the piece. We appreciate it. Black Bay is amazing. First off, it's beautiful. We'll put up some photos up there. But pick a cool case back and feel really good about what you did. Purchasing a watch, and you're going to have a great story to tell for years to come.
And the reality is it's going to be, you're going to have one of, of the different designs. I mean, one of 25, one of...
I call it one of one because you're going to engrave your name on it.
Exactly.
Everyone have
Well,
That's not a common. That doesn't come up.
That's exceptionally
Yeah, that's very.
that's something I should bring up, and that's where Tudor really stepped up. And,
Right.
and because I think it's the charity aspect of it is these big brands now do not do these things, do not do, one-off watches.
Right.
Do, back in the day, you could do symbols and all this stuff on watches. That's just kind of going away. So for them to allow us to do this is a huge deal. And I mean, I'm really appreciative of the partnership with Tudor.
It's amazing.
So yeah, it's amazing all around. It's just it's got to make a lot of good.
Yeah, I mean, I will say it's been a very touching experience. It's that we started, me and Lloyd started watches for ALS on his porch a few years ago. Like now Tudor's picked it up and Peter's picked it up. Like that's really, I understand, sometimes watches can get a rough rap. You idiots are spending $20,000 to tell time. Don't you have a cell phone? And I get that. I totally get it. But this shows everything that's amazing about the community. It's there's a cause that needs help, and the watch community stepped up.
Yep.
And Tudor's an enormous brand.
Yeah.
An enormous brand. And they stepped up and they helped us out. Peter's got the best store in Charleston, best store in the Southeast, best store in the world, and he stepped up. You guys have stepped up with the podcast. I mean, it's just it's everything that's right about watch collecting is in this room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed. I was gonna say it says a lot about you guys that Tudor took it on, because I'm sure there's probably other people knocking at the door and hoping there's stuff like this, and it's a unique process to get all the way to the finish line, which is really cool. I can't wait to.
And I'll give a shout out to Logan. I will do it. I will do it. Even though
There you
I
go,
don't love to
Logan.
do it.
If
No,
you're
I
on
don't
the-
like to.
No, he deserves
Tune
it.
in, Logan, about
deserves it.
let's
Yeah.
see, 25 minutes in over this time.
That's right. You hope get into this done.
Yeah, he's gonna fast forward right to this point just to hear his moment.
I got to say, I just was kind of in the background. Logan and George did all the communication. And the whole staff, me, Jason, Matt, Andrew, have all stepped up.
Yeah.
Gotten their friends and clients to purchase, and everybody's really passionate about it. And so I think it's been a good thing for all of us. It's an uplifting thing for all of us. It makes us feel good. It's going to go to a good cause.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just, and again, it just shows you, like George was saying, the community. It's such a special community.
Yeah.
I mean, we love all you guys, and you guys are friends, and we're all kind of like-minded. And I think it's good to show people that, you know, this ultra luxury thing that, you know, again, it's, you know, special. I mean, $4,000 watch, it's a lot of money for Cann's living, most people in the world. You know, you can do good with it, and it's meaningful.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I'm really proud of it.
That's really cool. So I guess back onto what's on your wrist over there.
Yeah.
This is not the first time you've created a watch. When I was reading, I read an article, and it was H. Moser, CIE.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. And I guess that changed at some point to now H. Moser & Co.
Yep. Right. Yeah. Another American now. Now trying to get big time. Another big time in it.
Okay. All right.
They're big time in it.
So you created 2 watches with H. Moser. You know,
One's the regular version, one's the tourbillon version.
no, there's the tourbillon. You have the tourbillon.
I do.
On
Yep.
that.
Which is amazing.
What was that process like?
So I knew a contact of somebody who knew their U.S. rep. You know, so much of fundraising is connecting the dots. Like, you know, people are like, how do you do it? I'm like, oh, just keep asking. Because you never know who knows somebody. You gotta keep pushing. I'm like, listen, you know, it's a cause, it's important enough. You can be humiliated. You can hear no, and you know, you'll survive.
Is that why you were calling me up like 4 in the morning?
How'd you know? I love this is George. No. I'm inside your house.
Hey, pull out your checkbook.
That's right. And like, you know, so I was put in contact with him, and like, it's so different from the Tudor experience because it's a much smaller brand, and they're willing to personalize it a lot more because it's much smaller. And so they did a run of 25 of the center seconds and 5 tourbillons. Wow. So I mean, it's an exceptionally rare watch. That's the whole thing, though. They don't make a lot of watches. Mm. And I remember calling this guy and be like, listen, I want to make an NTAW watch. You know, he didn't hang up on me, which is always a good first sign.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm very used to being hung up on.
When he called me up for it.
Yeah. And so then we went to work. I asked Lloyd, what do you want your watch to look like? This is a watch basically entirely designed by Lloyd Senior. And he was like, I want to look like my book. And God love him, he liked the shape of the case. And so I get the first sample. I'll never forget this. It was in the middle of COVID. So I go to Lloyd's house with the sample.
Physical watch?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, physical watch. As excited as I can be. I show him the watch, and it has the plastic strap on it, because that's how most Mosers thumb. And it looked like I had just kicked him in the shin. He was like, it has plastic strap on it. I'm like, that's
what they do.
That's Moser's kind of like their thing. He's like, looks cheap, won't do it. He's like, make it leather.
I'm going to change the camera, keep going.
And how do I say this? I have a panic attack. Because, listen, they don't do matching straps, right? That's, can they do that? Are they willing to do that? What happens next? I think it's a project going to blow up. And so I call them, and I talk to them through it, and they agree. And it was wonderful. And I will say this, importing alligator straps is not a lot of fun. That's been my biggest takeaway. Don't import alligator straps anywhere. And if you're going to sell a watch, don't make an alligator strap because you can't ship it anywhere.
Shout out to the chairs that we have. Alligator.
Really? Is it alligator?
Yeah.
McKinley leather. My max.
I'm probably quite leather to get here today.
California banned watch straps, alligator watch.
No, really?
Yeah, it's in court system, but
No way.
the Paddock and brands like that had to basically send their watches on rubber straps.
No way.
Yeah, no, crazy.
How unique is
Or
that?
you have to buy it in a different state and come right back.
That's right. That's right. Welcome to Oregon.
Yeah.
And so
That's funny.
But right after that, the boy unfortunately passed. Mm-hmm. And, I'll give you this. I'll give you the close-up for pictures.
Yeah,
But they changed the rotor after Lloyd passed. It was supposed to be a stainless rotor. They made it a solid gold rotor.
Wow.
And they changed it. And the rotor always says H. Moser and Chi. Mine says, after he passed, they changed it to H. Moser and Chi for Lloyd.
No way.
Right on the rotor.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
That's amazing.
And so, it is, it is.
After this, I've got to see that.
Yeah, I mean, it is, it's my favorite watch It's because nobody has a favorite watch because of the movement. Nobody has a favorite watch because of the dial color. They have a favorite watch because of the memory. That's what makes a favorite watch, right?
That's right.
Why I love the Pepsi? Because I remember being poor in DC and wanting one.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I'd never be able to afford one. Like, that's why I love the Pepsi.
Yeah.
Like, why do I love this watch? Because it was made with my friend.
Yep.
And like, that's what makes it amazing.
That's cool.
Yep.
That's really cool. So George brought a few watches that we're going to be able to go through today.
Some weirdos.
So I want to start with the first watch that I touched.
Yeah, the Avati.
I have never seen anything like this.
I've never seen anything
I
like
have this Sapphire one. I'll bring it to y'all next time.
the Sapphire.
Yeah.
I've seen that. I've seen
Okay.
photos of it, but never in real life. I don't think I know anyone.
Extremely original.
Yeah.
It's really fun to wind and watch the movement.
This is
Actually wind on it, and you have a tourbillon. So this is, I haven't touched that yet. So this is the first tourbillon I've ever held and looked at.
It's a different tourbillon. I'll give it up to Moser years. It's a different.
It's a little bit different.
So it's listen.
Look at this watch. It's not the most.
Is it ceramic? Is that
material?
ceramic?
It's purple ceramic.
It is. The
I do
only
love
one was
purple
ceramic.
personally.
I guess maybe the Zenith. Is it a Zenith that somebody in
Yeah, there's a purple Zen
Watch Club had a purple one?
the El Primero.
That's right. Tree. What is? Oh, the chip.
Yeah, they had that purple Zenith, which also was a mesmerizing watch.
Yeah,
This thing is crazy. I can't wait to put a picture of
gotta
that.
have decent sizers to wear that watch though.
I'm a larger gentleman is what they call us now.
Yeah, is
So
it?
they don't say fat anymore, which I appreciate. They don't.
It's a bull set, right?
Here you go. That thing is nuts.
Is that what that's called? Is that what the
Yeah, with that crown's on top here, that's a bull set.
How many people do that? I don't know that I've seen that.
It's a bull set?
It's just interesting. There's a term for it when I've always seen it.
see it?
Well, Omega has anything that's called a bull set.
They do.
Yeah, I think that's probably where it comes from.
Yeah, I know Omega has those funky
This
watches.
is very cool.
It is an extremely interesting watch.
I can see my hand.
But it's also like this one.
Yeah.
I've robbed these watches because that's an extremely affordable watch.
The Aventi.
I think it was $800.
Really?
I was like, I don't
For a turbo.
now. Yeah.
That's why I say it's quite different than.
Yeah. I think it's the finishing isn't quite up to stuff. But like, listen, for $800, you can have a really cool and unique thing on your wrist that tells time. And like, if I see somebody wearing this, I think they're into watches, right?
Yep.
I'm not gonna be like, oh, geez, buddy, you must love the color purple. Like, it's a really.
Well, we always talk about the conversation starter aspect of watches, and that fits that mold. I mean, Joe's good at it. I but I would like to be better at it. Just seeing a watch on someone and going straight up to them and just saying like, hey man, I like your watch. And I don't know, we've experienced probably 9 times out of 10, you have a great conversation. And then the one time there's a person that just doesn't really, they're not a watch person, they just on a watch and they don't really care to chat about it. Yeah. But that's very rare, which is another
Chris Williams.
Chris is we've actually been with Chris and experienced one of those 1 out of 10 moments.
Really?
Which I think maybe Chris had told that story on this podcast. And we saw a platinum day date. Joe and I, Chris and Allie were out on Isle of Palms. We got a platinum day date, ice blue dial, watch that you don't ever see.
Yeah.
And Chris went right up to him and was like, "Nice watch, man." And he just did not. He did not want to interact.
So I just think it was an awkward scenario. We were like at a bar, and he's like, "All right, it's a little late. Like, this is a big guy." Chris is not a small person, because Chris probably is like innocently, when we see your watch, this guy's like, "I'm not taking this off my wrist."
I get that. But actually, because sometimes it's fun for me because I see the reach of Dimitri Jewelers is Chris will send me a picture of some random guy at a restaurant with them both holding up watches, and the guy saying, "Guy got it from the Dimitri Jewelers," and it's just neat. Or like on an airplane, I get that all the time. Like somebody's flying to Japan, and they're like, "Look, I'm on an airplane, and there's 2 guys with watches, and they're customers of mine." That's cool. It's such a small world.
That is so cool.
Yeah, it's just so neat.
That is so cool. So this watch right here that I also they picked up. This is the second watch that I picked up whenever I was looking at it, and I've never seen anything like this either. I've seen the Star Wheel, the AP Star Wheel, which is, I believe,
Wandering Hours.
A wandering hours movement. Gorilla is the brand.
Gorilla's the brand.
Okay.
They are one of my favorite brands that nobody ever hears about.
Never heard of it. So excited.
I'm
Give us a spark-
I'm loving
spark
this
about
because I've never heard of Aventi. I've never heard of Gorilla.
So Gorilla is another one that I believe is made in China, and like, but they have their whole thing is they want to make a affordable watch with some complications. So they have two kind of different models. If you have like a standard Gorilla watch, it's based off of cars. I have a blue one. I have like their first model. I'll bring it to you next time. I'll leave it for you guys, Peter, if you want to see it. It's a beautiful blue watch, and it's based off of some part. And I'm not a car guy. I don't know.
I love cars. This sounds like I'm going to be buying
Yes.
today.
And it's like they're in my bond, they're pretty affordable. I think $1,200, $1,300. Now, it's not that crazy.
Yeah.
Really, and it's a great brand. It's fun. Again, it's a fun watch. And they came out with a wandering hours complication. For those of you who don't know, I'm sure you'll put it on the thing.
I'll try to get some footage of what's going on with this thing.
It has
nuts.
3 dials, and as the time moves, the dials move, and the hour hand goes around the top of the watch, which is where the minutes are. And every hour, the dials turn, and the next hour comes up. And it's a really cool complication. It's also an exceptionally expensive complication to make, which is why they did something really cool. I don't remember if it was an NTAW or Solita movement. They modified one to basically allow the wandering hours complication to be on top of it. Wow. And so
it's not all the same thing. It's basically 2 movements in there. Interesting.
That cratered the cost. Wow. And so they were able to make a wandering hours complication. Listen, it's not, I wouldn't say it's inexpensive, but it's not crazy. I think it's like $4,000 or something.
Compared to what you just referenced, right? The AP.
Yeah, I mean, they are real tens of thousands.
And I'm not sure if this is the same or not, but the Resonance watches.
Resonance, yeah.
I love those. Yeah. Is that the same idea? Movement? The whole dial and everything inside of the dial moves as you're turning the bezel.
Right.
And the outside of the watch, so they don't really have bezels.
A lot with Resonance is the case too, because it's like a globe sapphire.
They're like it's like a resin.
You can see it from the side perfectly the way they.
Which is so interesting. Yeah, you can look at it like this and see the hands.
I will have
so
one
weird.
one day. That's my one day.
That's a real. That's the one.
They are so. Talk
yeah.
about a conversation starter.
Type 2. They have a black one and then they have a green one. That I think it's the Type 2. I love them. I'm a huge fan. They're just.
Let's go out to check that out. Shout out to Gorilla.
Gorilla's a great. Like, the only thing I don't love about it, I'll give my gripe about it.
We like this.
It is really, really, really hard to put the pusher back in and screw it down correctly.
I just noticed that.
Yeah, it is like it's like one of those things where it's like, I don't want to be like guys like leaving shot, right? If they just like switch, if Rolex made this, it would fit back in perfectly, tight on perfectly, and be fine.
Yeah, it's interesting with watches like course watches. When we change batteries, and I've changed 200,000 batteries over your nicest watches, and this makes sense, are like buttered. Back comes off, everything fits perfectly, screws are perfect, goes back, goes right on.
Yeah,
The cheap watches are
A nightmare?
a nightmare.
So
Nothing
interesting.
fits. As soon as you take the back off, everything like expands. It doesn't fit right, and that's really where a lot of quality of the tolerances.
I'm glad you're
Right.
saying that.
When we talk about Rolex, the tolerances are minute.
You're right.
Microns, and so your cheaper watches, that's where a lot of
It's funny because I'm glad you said that because I don't think we ever touched on that, but like people always ask, like I have a bunch of buddies that aren't into watches and they, they're curious, like what, to our earlier point, right? You're crazy for spending that much money on a watch. I'm like, trust me, I haven't spent anything. You should see what this other right. But I always try to explain to them the value and the quality. And I didn't know that. Obviously I'm not a watch servicer,
Right.
But it's interesting to hear that like even down to that side of it, they blow the other guys out.
yeah, absolutely. It's just a perfection. Everything fits perfectly.
It's not just a brand. It's actually made quality from start to finish.
Yes.
Which is good.
I remember I was at Zales when I was a young lad, where I changed 50,000 watt batteries in the what's the single dot? Oh my God, Movado. And I moved from that. I had to change 50,000 Movado batteries in my life. I was like, wow,
Lord.
this is my nightmare.
Never again.
Is that a quick one?
No.
That's the
That's
real
the
watch.
last one.
That's the real watch.
That's
Come
gonna be
on,
our grand finale. Which
Peter's like,
Because we're talking about
he wants to talk about it, which I don't blame because I don't know anything.
I know. This is the big watch.
this is Operation Desert Shield.
Vostok.
A Russia stuff.
You know it. I don't think you get those anymore, I'll bet. I didn't think that.
Is this what is the graphic on the back of this?
So here's my, what do you mean?
Well, there's you have an American flag in the middle.
Oh, yeah.
Under there, there's two swords, and then what looks like
I think it's like, I think it's
a palmetto tree coming up behind it
I think it's the emblem for that war.
for Operation Desert Shield.
And it is like the weirdest, by far the weirdest watch I own is a Vostok that was made in Russia. If you pull out the pusher, it wiggles. They all wiggle as part of the movement.
Got it. I can hold the
It's not a defect. Like I would say like not being able to put the pusher in, that's a defect.
Right.
That's not good.
Right.
That's a feature, not a bug. It is, I think I paid $19 for it.
No way.
Maybe $29.
I love the watches you chose to bring. No,
It was firmly under 50. And again, it's another one of those watches that, like, if I see you wearing a Vostok, I know to a certainty you're a watch person.
Right.
Like
You
you
just stumble across this.
You didn't like go into like, CVS like, oh geez, I forgot my watch at home. I gotta go to Vostok.
Yeah.
It's also like it shows like just how weird watches can be. It's a Russian watch celebrating an American victory in an Iraq war 20 years ago. Like that's wild. That's wild.
This is one of my favorite watches I think I've ever seen. I don't know why I love it so much. I love the graphics on it.
The bezel's also like, I don't understand what's going on with the bezel because it's not symmetrical. It doesn't look. There's
You wait to this all in-house movement.
Is it way?
Full in-house movement. It's only for Vostok.
which is a major feat for those of you out there for a watch brand to have an in-house movement. Some watch brands that are huge still have not perfected in-house movements.
And like my favorite part about the watch is the dial, the head is comically small, and the brand, and then the strap is comically huge.
Yeah.
Like I mean, the
Proportions of this.
Proportion.
They spend all their R&D money on the movement.
And the back is held on by screws, so everything should be lined up perfectly. When it falls back,
It's just off. Yeah, I mean, the bezel's not even symmetrical. Like, there's different colored dots on one side that don't match the other.
I just don't ever wear that in my store.
I've worn a lot worse than this in your store. I assure you. And like it's one of these watches that like I love. It's like it's so fun. It's also it's a pain in the butt because you can't change the date. You have to go through.
Oh, there's no quick date.
No, you have to go through. So like, the date's always wrong. Whenever I wear it, the date is never right.
Yeah.
It's just like it's such an impractical and hilarious watch.
That's
fan.
funny.
I'm a big fan.
Yeah,
Just unique, we love unique watches.
I was trying to figure out what the language was on the back. It's a Russian.
Mother Russia.
It's in Russian. No. There's nothing.
I didn't wonder if you can't get these anymore.
The only thing in English is the Operation Desert Shield on the front. And I mean, you definitely can't get them anymore. I don't think they want to put American flag.
It might be a collector's piece.
That's definitely a collector's piece.
Check eBay, see what they're going
Here
for.
we go. That's gonna be up to $89 tonight, boys. Watch
Yeah.
out.
Don't put it in
Taco Bell's on me tonight.
I'll take it for 85.
There you go. Now we're talking.
There you go.
So this watch, talking about
Yeah.
portions being off, this watch's portions are pretty perfect in my opinion.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I've had the pleasure of wearing one of these. You were not there at the event, so this is your first experience with this watch.
This is my first time touching this watch.
Not anymore. You have it.
That Richard Mille did it, right?
They're real decent.
But the Richard Mille, which I've heard you can't wear because
out.
it's so brittle,
It is.
it cannot be worn. This watch is like actually durable and wearable.
I want to say I am not a Richard Mille hater. I actually respect their movements a great deal. I know like that is a very controversial topic.
I don't like them. So, but go
Really?
ahead.
Why don't you like them?
I think that a lot of people buy them for the wrong reason.
That I agree.
And that
That I agree.
I like watches for the complete opposite reason. Buying it because you like it, not because you want people to know that you have one.
I agree.
Like also we just talked about, like if you can't wear the watch, like if they're just doing something to make a statement that we broke a record.
Right.
Does that count? You know?
Yeah.
So is this the thinnest watch you can wear?
Basically, so like the movements that Richard Mille, it's like if you're watching,
We talked about that. The watchmaking is impressive. Their materials, they weigh nothing. They're beautiful. They do have it figured out. I'll give them that. I just don't like. I'm big about the behind. Like, why did you get the watch?
Oh, I think that's
And
fair.
I think
that's totally fair.
Own them for the wrong.
Oh, of course.
You know, what is this watch's name? The
Octo Finissimo.
The what?
Octo Finissimo.
Octo Finissimo. The Bulgari Octo Finissimo.
Yeah, and that was the original one. They now have it in carbon fiber. They have it in black. They have it.
What is this?
Look at black.
That's taking.
There's like a black marble one I saw. Yeah, which is weird.
I love the watch. I will say they have now beaten that poor watch to death. That is, they found like a really great design, and now they were like, I know what I'll do. It'll be in every color with every material God has ever made. And like
This
it's
is
like
the one you
like
have to
a-
have.
like
that's the one.
Like
Yeah, you have to have that one.
It's pretty much like a little.
If you're a true watch guy.
yes, exactly.
Yeah, like it's a flawless design.
Cool stealth look too.
It's also, I worked for about an hour at the watch event, and it's very comfortable. And it's,
Out around your wrist.
yeah, just, I had it, yeah, you don't even know it's there, but it's, when you look down, you're like, wow, this is the coolest thing I've worn.
It's a great band. It's a very movable band.
It really does conform to your wrist really well.
It's I think I like that watch a lot.
Yeah, I agree. And it's different, very original. And if you really look close, all of the details of the bezel, like how many different levels they are, and it's so thin, but there's like 4 or 5 different levels of like little steps that they made. Yeah, which is so interesting for such a thin watch. It's like they like used so much of it,
We all thought this was going to be Bulgari kind of saying I'm entering the watch space.
Yeah.
Like they really spent a fortune on getting the finishing correct, on the design. Like they really took it seriously. And like they just haven't moved on from it though.
Yeah.
And it's like, Louis Vuitton's now trying to get into like really nice watches.
Interesting.
They'll be so snobby. I saw that eye roll. I saw that. So did it.
I do
You're on camera.
Yeah.
You're on camera.
I do want to point something out though. This is the first watch Peter's taking the chance to put on.
Yeah.
That we have gone through. Look how easy.
It's also a watch that if you have the opportunity to be around, you want to put it on. Like it looks like you're like, I need to try this on.
I will put it on here in a second.
It just looks so different than anything, and it wears.
So I'm glad George and I have the same wrist size.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's not good for
Always
you, boss.
nice to know.
So we have
One for the bow sock on or no?
we have one more watch, and Peter's been dying to talk about this watch. This is the one.
This
We
is the
talked
watch
about
too
it.
that he mentioned when we even first spoke. He's like, hey, we'd like to have George on to do a podcast. This is the first watch he mentioned, and then I talked to Logan without you,
No.
and Logan's like, oh, I hope he brings the crate over, and then it's like, this here it is.
There it is.
So let's hear about it.
So someone's got to describe the significance of a cradle.
Well, there's I like to call it the grandest Seiko. It is made by the Micro Studio 4 brand Seiko.
It's like 7 masters that are making that watch by hand. The dial is hand painted, and so you can actually, if you follow it now, you could go in with a loop and see the brush strokes and see how it's painted, and you can also recognize which master painted it just by the technique.
I have a lens. Do not let me forget. I have a lens, a macro lens for camera.
And like
that
it is when they paint them. I mean, you can see where the brush,
we're gonna zoom in with the camera.
Serious. So
I have a lens that will see that, so we're definitely trying to capture the best we can for that because that's very cool.
And it's a Nawatake porcelain. It's a very, 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 very brittle porcelain. So most dials shatter before it ever gets into a lock.
No way.
It is.
I mean, that is a work of art. That's a painting on a wall.
And this is a watch. You can't just buy this watch.
Oh, no.
Let's go.
Well, the funny story of that is really only Grand Seiko and their 3 or 4 boutiques around the world will sell it, and it's a 5-year wait list.
Yeah, easily. Yeah.
So George, one of his dreams is that, George, I can't get a Krager for you. And really, they only import maybe, what do they make, 20 a year?
20 a year.
Yeah,
Oh,
they make
across all 3 designs.
And they maybe import 5 into the United States. So the only good thing from COVID is COVID, everything shut down, everything shut down. George calls me and says, you think you could talk to Grand Seiko about getting a Krager? I'm like, everything's shut down, man. What are you going to do? So I called Rusty Rollins, as VP at Grand Seiko, and I said, this dear friend, incredible watch collector, and he's always wanted a Krager. Is there any chance, just get us on the list, 4 or 5 years, it doesn't matter. And he said, you know what, Peter, we just had one shipped from Japan to the New York's boutique, and New York shut down. We're not even allowed to call customers for it. I'm like, Charleston's wide open.
For you guys watching, it's like COVID hit here for about a week and a half.
Yeah.
So it moves on.
I was like, my store's wide open. He goes, you know what? We'll send it down.
No way.
Send it to us. It's first one in the United States.
And you made this phone call without George, so I'm interested to hear how you relate the news, because you probably expected, like, hey, we got it, but it's 5 years.
I expected people to eventually be able to guilt Rusty into getting me one. I have a lot of Grand Seikos.
Yeah, I mean, he's, a known Grand Seiko,
right.
Mostly the spring drive is
But like I was honestly expecting closer to 10 years. They don't make them. They're 20 a year for the world. 15 stay in Japan, basically.
and it's probably the finest three-hand watch in the world.
So you get this call,
Yeah.
or you make the call, then what happens?
Well, I kept it for a week so I could put
That's right. That's what the thing came from.
This thing is amazing. I'm just holding it.
So like the jewels on the movement, like Grand Seiko, like that's the mountain range that Grand Seiko can see from their micro studio. Like they designed that movement. And so when you think about it, like they're putting, the hairspring should be here, but in order to fit their vision, they're taking the hairspring and putting it up here. So they're moving stuff around, creating a whole new movement just to create that work of art.
And they've got this beautiful flower design that you can see.
So much symbolism in it.
What I weirdly appreciate, there's like a gas tank on the back.
Yeah.
There's a lot of on the spring drive moons with the Grand Seiko, they'll have it on the front,
Right.
where you can see it. But on the back here, you've got it literally is an F and an E.
So the IQ one
Empty.
had it on the
And so when I was winding it a little bit, and it was at empty, and it wound to like halfway.
Yeah, I mean,
gas tank.
and that it's like a translucent blue. I mean, that's all.
The blue is amazing.
If you see it in person, you can hold the edges.
Let me get up close here.
The edges like fade out or get lighter, and that's just the paint getting thinner as they bring it.
I love it. And you watch that movement, and I get fascinated with those draws.
Oh, no, it doesn't say Grand Seiko on it. Like on the front.
It doesn't say.
You don't know what it is.
Well, it doesn't say Grand Seiko anywhere.
They're on the back.
Seiko time cord.
Yeah, I guess, well, yeah.
It doesn't say Grand Seiko.
The weird thing about Crador, the negativity of, I'd say the negative of Crador is Crador is a Seiko brand in Japan, and it's a fairly inexpensive brand. Right. The Micro Studio Grand Seiko Crador is on a level, of very few could touch. And so if you look up Crador,
it's like congratulations, you got your $800 watch.
seeing a thing like from
$800 watch.
Yeah.
Wow.
But this is just a whole different level.
That's how we've heard that feedback about Grand Seiko, though.
Yeah.
And people go, why is this Seiko? I think I've heard this with Andrew in the store. Someone came in and looked at the Grand Seiko case and was like, can I see a watch? And then Andrew tells them the price, and they're like, I swear I saw Seikos online for $350, and then Andrew has to give them the education as quick.
But see, I admire that about these brands is, they're Grand Seiko. I mean, they don't care. Like they're proud of their name.
Exactly.
They have no problem with me.
Right.
And so the next cool thing about it was once he had this, now he's a Crador collector. So Grand Seiko then calls me when the second Crador, the next IQ2 comes into the United States and says, would George like it? So now we've got two Cradors.
Now we got two. Good
one.
No, and then we get three Cradors.
Yeah.
So he's the only person in the world that I know of that has all three.
They had all three.
You're the only person in the world.
Now, take
Not-
that, Mr.
not
Wonderful.
in-
Take that, Mr. Wonderful. Coming
Mr.
for you.
Wonderful.
Mr. Nothing.
That beginning of our show, we were talking about this. This is the Mr. George watch.
That's right.
Not the Mr. Wonderful.
No.
That is insane. We are going to have to get all three of those in the same room and same photo.
But I mean, it's just
We'll hire security.
Right.
and when you get into the
That's what I love about it. It's so simple, and
The
you
draw
don't
is
know what it is. Like, I'm a big fan of the Stealth Wealth. Another reason that I don't like Richard Mille. I love the watches where, like, if you know, you know. If you don't, then it's fun to hear about and learn to go, oh, wow. So didn't realize that.
A few weird things about it. So Dufour said it is the best finished watch he's ever seen. He's well consulted on it. He went to the micro studio to consult on it. And there's one type of wood that does that type of finishing that Dufour uses. They don't have it in Japan. They paid a university to grow it, and just so they could finish that watch.
No way.
The quartz is a spring drive, so it has quartz in it. It has the glide wheel that charges the quartz, which is why it keeps such accurate time. they grow that quartz in a lab in Japan.
Just for this one.
This watch.
Well, Grand Seiko does that for all the
Yeah.
arrows, actually. But so they're perfecting the quartz so that it gets the perfect energy. And that's just like talking about the difference between Seiko and Grand Seiko.
Correct.
They're growing their own quartz.
That's insane.
I do think they need to tone down the Seiko stuff though. I don't love the spring drives in the Seikos.
Yeah.
I think that's a little.
I've been getting too close together,
I've started
right
to
in the area a
just
little
decide that I've started to become pretty fascinated with some vintage Seiko models.
We have a lot of people that message us on
Old
Instagram.
Seikos. People
Crazy
send them to us
collectors.
all the time, and I'm like, these are really cool.
These guys have cases, like briefcases, full of 20, 30 of these vintage.
They love it.
Seiko,
Yeah,
you know,
the King Seiko. That's the one. Yeah, King Seikos.
Yeah.
Love it.
That's what I love it. I've been like become fascinated with it. I wasn't aware of King Seiko.
but Seiko was always the $200 or $300 watch that was really a $1,000, $2,000 watch.
Absolutely.
Because of the way it was made.
Absolutely.
Japanese, I mean, everything Japanese do is just perfection. I mean, it's just the way they operate.
That's like Grand Seiko. I mean, people ask like, why love Grand Seiko? I'm like, listen, it's a $20,000 watch you can get for $5,000.
Right.
The same thing with the Crador, right? $400,000 watch for $45,000. I mean, like, it's crazy. The fortune simplicity is hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah. I mean, we discussed that about just how fascinating it is to watch the sweep and like how beautiful the watchmaking is and the like just from the Grand Seiko event.
Mm-hmm.
One, I loved hearing that guy tell me about all the stuff because it is crazy that like the colors are based on a river or something or something, a lake that's in Japan that they took
There's
color.
true thought that goes behind it.
Very true thought.
That's
Yeah.
something that
And it's not only is it like a well thought out watch, but they from start to finish, it's whatever's the mountain range, right? Just an idea, and then they finish it so perfectly. So it's like start to finish, they're unbelievable.
It's passion, right? It's actually like, and I do think that's something that Grand Seiko has kind of nailed, is that they've said, I'm not going to be able to have, the brand awareness of some of these other companies, but I can show deep and passionate thought about each one of my watches. And that's been their kind of MO, and I think they nailed it.
Yeah.
They don't have many misses. They have, every now and then I'm like, what are you going to do?
Right.
Like, they don't have many misses.
No, and that's the other thing. I look through the case, and obviously Dimitri Jewelers has a beautiful selection.
Authorized dealer. Authorized dealer.
There you go. If you want a Grand Seiko, you know where to go. But I love that you guys have so many in there because you can see the diversity of what they're capable of. And I've always said this from the start, just learning about them. The dials are unlike any other. Like the colors that they do and the textures and the style. And like that one watch that you haven't noticed. One of like 3, right? The rose gold, like chocolate dial art. Isn't that like a very rare, unique watch? Yeah, and it's just...
And where can they buy it?
Dimitri.
Oh, okay, good.
Free plug.
I missed it. I'm sorry. I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, and free plug. There's not any other in the world.
No, not for.
There's only one
There's no
place you can buy.
jewelry store in the world. Every
Yeah.
watch should be bought from.
Yeah,
No, I didn't know you could buy watches anywhere else.
Soon to be a both fuck.
No, I was dealer.
yeah.
I have
Authorized. Now,
I have a dumb question. And
no
maybe-
questions are done.
No, I think it is dumb. What is the brand that you've been referencing? Defoe.
Oh, but Philip Dufour, he was an independent watchmaker.
Okay, I've never heard of Philip Dufour.
He is probably regarded as the person with the best finishings in the world.
See, I told you about dumb question.
If you look, no, not at all. Like if you look at like his watches, everything is just total perfection. No, it'd be Bear's like another one that gets referenced a lot.
It's like Genta, there's designers behind a lot of these companies, like we never gear up, and then eventually they branch out into their own brand.
But I would say Dufour's better known for finishing than design, wouldn't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
So when you say that, like Grand Seiko would bring them in to inspect or to actually finish?
So he taught the Megro Schoenfelders.
Wow.
He basically lived.
What a creator saying to be like, I'm the guy.
Yeah.
So Philip Dufour.
And then he's a perfectionist. And like every single watch he talks to is like, listen, like if it's not perfect, I destroy it. This isn't hard. Like this is about making sure that finishing is exactly what I want it to look like. And if you look at the back of that one, it's one of the harder types of finishings because it's smooth basically.
We thought about like titanium, titanium. Obviously, there's some cool titanium watches out now. Grand Seiko is really the only company, and certainly Crador wood, that high polishes titanium because it's so difficult.
Yeah, it's Zarate polishing.
And if you look at the Zarate polishing with stainless steel, it's a perfect rare finish.
Yeah.
The titanium is not quite at that level, but it's at a level that no one else in the world can tap.
Yeah, because
But usually when you see titanium watches, they're brushed.
Yeah, I was going to say they have a very different. It's very obvious when you see a titanium material because it is different.
But to polish it, I mean, you would take a rush $10,000 titanium watch, and then you got to charge $20,000 for it because of the time it would take. You have to get it right for another company.
Wow.
Grand Seiko just does it as part of the regular line. So you look at our case, there's all these watches with all this incredible polish. It's polyphenol. A lot of that's titanium. It's incredible.
And it's crazy. Like I find that that is where I think Grand Seiko's like at their absolute best, because they know they're polishing their kind of finesse in the designs. You know, the rounded corners of titanium. That's impossible to get right.
Right.
You know, and like, you know, in some ways they benefit because like, you know, they don't have the scale like Rolex or Tudor, right?
Well, it's fun for us because when you can, like you said, when it's kind of unknown, then we get to discover it with you. We get to kind of teach the client about it. And it's really,
How many Grand Seiko pieces do you have?
Oh, a lot.
Do you have?
Yeah, more than I could.
Really?
More than I could ever reasonably wear.
Really?
515.
Do you have the cherry blossom one?
Yeah. I got it before they ruined the dial. Look at that.
Grand Seiko says they haven't changed.
Yeah, like I love Grand Seiko.
I've heard this. They said they haven't changed it.
Yeah, they're lying. They're lying. Don't close your beard, Peter. I know you're authorized. Yeah.
They're not even in trouble.
Yeah. All right, they're telling the truth. They're telling the
You
truth.
know there is going to be a forced Praetor.
Oh, wait a minute. Never mind. It's great.
Is it?
I'm sure there will be. Even though I don't like there never be a limit. They make 20 a year.
Yeah, but you're the guy.
That's
You're
true.
Crater or George.
That's true.
Yeah.
You are crazy.
I like that.
I like. You just said yourself, Crater or George.
That's a great nickname.
They're now sending it to Mr. Wonderful.
That's right. That's right.
Mr. Wonderful doesn't criticize it.
No, he just cries over his AP. You know, and it's like, oh my God, it's red.
Gosh, that video went so viral for that.
It was like,
That's so.
it's like so wild. Like, yeah. So this Mr. Wonderful, he gets a piece unique from AP, and it's got I think it's rubies, right?
Ruby bezel, yeah.
Bezel. He cries over it.
Yeah.
Cried.
Cries.
And he's mic'd up.
Yeah.
The thing is, it's very like, people are saying it's very scripted because he's mic'd up and he's on camera,
Yeah.
and it's a full like reveal of the watch.
Yeah.
And yeah, he starts crying. It almost sounds like fake crying.
Yeah, almost sounds like fake cry.
Yeah.
I like that. Almost.
Yeah,
sounds like
it's very.
Yeah.
You could tell he's like doing like intentional sniffles. Basically, it's the way it comes off. I wasn't there.
I did that when I saw the Crayola, right, Peter?
Yes,
Oh my God.
all three of them.
Thank you for holding me, by the way. I appreciate it. You're a great son.
Tell him about the bezel of the off-catalog GMT.
Yeah, yes. Oh, I got a Saru, which is
Wow.
a sapphire ruby GMT, rose gold. Love that.
It's completely, again, the gem setting of Rolex is beyond.
It's the best. The best.
But, Grand Seiko is the best in the world of polishing.
Yeah.
The gem setting with Rolex is just unbelievable. And this is jewel encrusted GMT bezel, right?
The Saru.
It's an off-catalog.
It's the Pepsi. It's Pepsi color.
But it's a rose gold watch.
Rose gold.
So,
I'd love to see that as well.
So I'm showing George, how to set it, and I turned the bezel. George's like, you broke it. I'm like, what are you talking about? It's a GMT bezel. And he's like, it's not supposed to move, Peter. They can't do gems and stuff and make the bezel move. I'm like, George, it's real there.
It's a tool watch.
It's a tool watch. No, it's encrusted with gems. No, his Rolex, they are not going to make a GMT watch that doesn't operate as a GMT. And he was so excited.
I couldn't believe it.
He
Nice in there,
jumps up.
like,
He starts running around the store, like showing random customers, whoa, the bezel.
They're probably like, what the hell is that?
This guy.
Is it a bidirectional bezel still?
I mean,
It's
thank you. Thank you. You would not expect that.
No,
You would not expect that.
I don't think I thought that the jewel. I don't think I thought that the jeweled bezels moved. I did not.
Well, still GMT at the end of the day, it's still.
You got to remember the foundation of Rolex is that watch is meant to be used for what they.
Correct. Even if
How
it's
it looks.
silly.
And they do with like them and Tudor some real credit for this, right? Like, I mean, like, both of them, Tudor and Rolex, could totally phone it in. They don't. They don't. Every
Rolex
watch
is the masters of that.
Yeah,
I mean,
every watch comes out perfect. It's still a tool watch.
all they do stuff that's hidden that no one ever sees.
Yeah.
Most of them.
It's so. I was going to mention this earlier when you said about the perfectionist of the watch polishing and the things that go through, and if that watch wasn't perfect, he'd throw it out.
Yeah.
Watches are one of the only things I feel like out there that still happens. Like cars, people just cut corners. You know, they fail all the time. They break.
The heritage and history and the passion of these brands is unparalleled.
Right.
You're
getting what you pay for, basically.
I mean, GMT bezels, Rolex is tossing hundreds of it for every one that they put into the watch. Wow, it's going to be perfect. The meteorite, everybody talks about a meteorite with you, Chris. I mean, it's amazing, billion-year-old.
He loves saying
that.
It's a billion-year-old rock.
But when they slice it, they're losing
right
a lot. I wonder
I would love to know the percentage there. I'm sure we'll never find out.
And that rock was, it's $20 million for them to buy that rock.
Right.
And they're just tossing.
Do you think they ran out of pieces of the rock? Is that why they discontinued the meteorite dive?
Well, the story from the ones in the early 70s and everything, that one Gideon plate, they ran out of that one, and then they had to find another one.
Because it can be magnetic,
Right, it's got to have certain properties.
Because it'll mess up the movement.
I bought Bill, you'll love this story. I bought a Kickstarter watch that had a meteorite dial. Looks a little bit different than my meteorite GMT.
Okay.
And it looks terrible. It's one of the very few watches I'm like, oh, I regret buying this watch. It looks terrible. Clearly, they did not think about the magnetic quality of this meteorite. And the second band had like a seizure every time it clicks because it hits the magnet. So he's like, it clicks, boop, boop, and it's like so terrible.
George gets near steel his arm.
Yeah. It's just such like a poorly designed watch.
It's a meteorite, though.
It's a meteorite. It's a million-year-old rock.
Yeah.
That's why we love these companies, though, because everything they do is bought out, tax horrific.
You gotta appreciate that.
It really did.
It doesn't. You don't see that. People are so they're so engulfed in trying to just make money and put out as much as they can. You don't see that in the luxury watch world. It's
most people are just, they're wearing the watch, they're enjoying it, they're banking around, they're not caring about all those little details. But the company behind it, the manufacturer,
still cares.
And
you think they know, right? They know that people are wearing them and have no idea about the servicing or no idea about how much time went into it, but they still do it.
Hairspray,
Yeah. No one's going to
millions and millions of dollars of research to create that. You and I wearing it. But it's fine. Yes, there's reasons why people love things, and it doesn't have to necessarily be why we love.
That's right.
It takes 20 years for you to be able to paint. Like pretty hard. You have to be doing painting for 20 years, basically, before you allowed to paint your first one.
I remember them saying that at the event. One of the guys was educating, not the creator, but he was just educating, even just the regular. They have to be very, very certified to be able to do it.
And so that's what, this whole scarcity and just hire another 500 watchmakers. You have to have 20, 25 years of experience before let you touch this lot.
Right, they're hired. They're just not qualified.
Right.
And it's a skill. You can give me 100 years.
Right.
I won't be able to get close to either the painting or the finishing of that one.
Yeah.
I don't have the skill.
Yeah, I mean,
I got sausage hands.
I was gonna say there's so many things that go into it, let alone being able to learn it after having all the abilities.
And then I'm assuming that they messed this up. They got to start
all over.
So I don't know the true terminology, so I'm going to mess this up. I'm going to give a free plug to my mom here.
Yeah.
It is very hard for her to find skilled labor to build furniture because they're a manufacturer. Yeah. And they do, I think it's called like an 8-way hand tie or 12-way hand tie. The way they're springing up these frames and building these pieces of furniture. And it's very difficult for her to find enough skilled labor. And I'm always telling her, I'm like, just hire more people. She's like, it's not that easy. I can't find somebody that knows how to do spring up and hand.
But like what the combination,
that
person you put a copy.
It's McKinley Leather.
There you go. Good.
McKinley Leather Furniture. Yeah.
.com.
Mom. Yeah.
There you go.
.com. McKinleyLeatherFurniture.com.
You're welcome, Mom.
Yeah.
Still let you buy already watch it.
We need them to make a watch.
Well, it sounds like we could share workforces.
Yeah.
Oh, now we're talking. A little synergy.
There you go.
Upstream, downstream, as you get there.
You build, American furniture, and we'll build Swiss watches.
There you go.
Or Japanese watches.
There you go.
Yeah, too. Yeah.
Man, to wrap it up in this beautiful episode. beautiful watches.
Thank you, George. Thank you for bringing all these pieces.
I know the boat goes near dear.
It sounds like I need to come, or we need to do this often so I can see some of these other pieces.
Let's do it.
Hinted at it, because now
We got to rotate.
I'm all pricked up. I got my spidey senses in the ears.
He'll bring his Croc collection. You bring your Croc.
I have three pairs of Crocs. It's not a very great collection. It's blue,
Nice.
2 camo.
Oh, nice.
And I really didn't need 2 camos. I lost the pair of camos, and I bought a new pair of camo, and then I found the original pair.
They weren't lost.
They were
They were just Cann.
Oh, I like that. I just bought the glitter ones for Black Friday.
Don't.
I'll tell you something. He likes to walk his dog in like the dark in the morning or at night or whatever. And I got him. I saw he's on an Instagram ad. Headlights for Crocs. They plug into those little holes and they shine headlights.
Oh, George.
And you could charge them up. They're unbelievable.
Best.
They're like the best $4 gift
love
I've ever got.
I was
Wait a minute now.
You just you
I'm
plug them
walking
right
down
into
the
those
street, I got
holes
my
and they
Crocs.
just shine lights in front of you. It's the
It's
funniest
the best.
thing.
The Watching Crocs podcast.
Yes.
Now we're really talking.
There you go.
Well, we could have a Dimitri Jewelers, Crocs
Oh.
collaboration,
He'd love that.
and we'll
So
kind of.
you're going to get me into Crocs?
Well,
Me and you, Peter, will stick to these.
it's a good
regular
idea
shoes.
because we could donate all the proceeds to our watch habit.
There you go.
The camera's telling me it's about to overheat, so let's wrap up.
Is it?
temperature?
Okay.
Tom?
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you guys for
Again,
coming on.
and if you're gonna share a show, share this show because there's an awesome cause. If you want to buy a watch, reach out to Peter, reach out to us, DM us. We'll put you in contact with Peter, and hope that camera doesn't overheat.
It's getting there. Thank you guys for making up.
Thanks everybody. Episode 31 in the book.
Yeah, that'll be number 1 again.
There you go.
Chris Williams going down.
There you
It's
go.
going down.
Thank you guys.
There you go.
Appreciate it.